Learn to defend yourselves without stick or firearm. I need a volunteer.
Hey guys, this is Heretic, and in this video I'm going to cover one of the most important topics in War and Order: defense. So what do I mean by defense? So you see my castle here. It's unshielded, unguarded. What happens when I get attacked? So I could potentially lose troops, and I could potentially lose resources as well, which right now I have a little bit because I've been upgrading. So how do I protect my troops, and how do I protect my resources? First, my troops, especially my higher tier troops, which right now I have some T10s rolling, they're the most important. They're a lot more important to me than resources because it takes a lot of time to build my troops. If I lose them, it actually is painful. So let's take a look and see what I've got right now. So I have a total of 330,000 troops in my castle right now. My hospitals can hold 128,000. So I could potentially lose 200,000 troops. And when this happens, it's a random number. So it's not going to put my best troops in the hospital and then all of my tier 2 cav are going to survive. No, that's not going to happen. It's going to be a mix. I'm going to end up losing a lot of my tier 10. So how do I protect them? Well, there's different ways. Let's talk about this wounded capacity. And this is the best way to check. For me, it's just an easy place to go is to your drill grounds. Click marching army. You see my wounded 0. That means I have 0 troops in the hospital right now. And my hospital can handle 128,640 right now. So where does that number come from? So that number comes from a lot of different places, but one of them is from your hospital. So in all of these buildings in War and Order, you can click them and then go to details and go to more info to find out more about that building. With hospitals, for every level, you get 1,000 troops added to the capacity. So if I go to 27, I would jump up to 129,000 troops that I could hold. More importantly, is you have these things called medic tents, and you can have up to 8 of them, which I have right now. For every level, and I'll show you here because you can do the same thing, go to details, more info, and you can see for every level you get 500, but you have 8 tents. So that's a potential of 4,000 for every total level that you move your 8 up. Right? So it's really important to focus on them. If you do have your benefit card, your Supreme card, then you can go ahead and schedule upgrades. So that's what I do. So if I'm asleep, I'm making sure that if one of my other buildings finishes, that my medic tents pick up. So just like, for example, potentially overnight, I would get, or within the next day, I would get another 2,000 troops that would be added to my capacity that my hospitals could hold. So that's one thing, right? You will be told to always keep the troops in your castle around your wounded capacity. And to a large extent, that is true. You do have another place. So you have a sanctuary. So sanctuary is kind of like your hospital number 2. It's the excess troops that will survive once your hospital capacity is eaten up. Now, you will lose, I believe it's 20% of your troops over the capacity no matter what, but then the others will come into your sanctuary up to an extra 163,000, and then you have little quests that you can do to get them out. So it's a a helpful thing. It's actually newish in the history of War and Order. It's a way to kind of protect you on defense. So there is a way, like, defense again wins the game. Because defenders have a way to save troops, whereas attackers, when they attack, and that'll come in a separate video, they lose troops. Lose. That cannot be recovered through hospitals, sanctuaries, and that sort of thing. So you have the potential of never losing troops if you keep the number of troops in your castle under your wounded capacity, hospital capacity. You will not lose troops ever, right? You will be able to save your troops. So what are other ways? So we talked about the hospital and the medic tents. Those are the ones that people focus on. Like if you ask people in your alliance, hey, what do I do? I have 200K troops and my hospitals can only hold 50K. What do I do? They're gonna say, oh, you need to work on your medic tents and you're gonna need to work on your hospital. But that's only really part of the answer. There's other places. So the next obvious place would be your college. So if you go into your college and you go over to development, you have medical facilities. And so pretty early on, you can get up to 7.5% of your total raise of additional wounded capacity in your hospitals. Then as you go along, you'll be able to get another 7.5% later on. So that's another 15%, right? 15% increase in the total number of wounded troops that your hospitals can hold. So the college is a really good place. What else? The next thing would be B skill. So you can get a wounded limit here, B skill. And when you do that, you will raise your... You will raise, depending on what level your skill is at, you'll be able to raise your wounded troop capacity. So if I go over here, you'll see it's now jumped to 143 from the 128. So that's a pretty good jump, right? And when would I do that? I'm not going to sit there with this on all the time because that would be a waste of a skill, in my opinion. I would want to have my good skill, like maybe my life source or my attack, or your reduction in mage damage that you take would be another great one there. There's different things that you want to use. Don't forget about your B skills. There's a lot of really good things like stamina, there's XP from monsters, that sort of thing when you're building, and I'll talk about that in a minute too. But all right, so that's another place. So you have 15% or more that you can get on your beast there. A lot more, actually. Another place is your artifacts. So I'm just going to touch on one of the artifacts because it's easy. Draconite right here. You can get your max wounded up. You can fortify this up and you can raise up the number of max wounded just from equipping the artifact, the Draconite artifact here. Another good place. Another thing is your gear. And this is actually pretty big. When you start looking at the numbers, this is pretty eye-opening, honestly. So every single type of gear at level 25 has wounded capacity. So what people do, and I know like even me right now, I'm focusing on just getting my main set of gear. But the longer you play, you'll be able to focus on some other sets. And it's really important that you do that you have a kind of monster killing set, and you can also have a wounded capacity set. And it's significant, the amount of wounded capacity you could actually raise here. So wounded limit boost, let's say at blue, for each piece of this gear at level 25 is 11.2%, which means you could potentially have a 66% increase when you go, because there's 6 different gear pieces here. You could potentially have 66% additional wounded capacity. So let's say you have a 200K wounded capacity before you put on the gear, and then you put on this wounded capacity gear, you would jump up to the 320K range, potentially around there. It's huge, a big jump there. But when would you do these things? So like I talked about the beast, and now I'll talk about the gear. So doing these lowers your stats overall, or your potential for fighting. So when would you do this? You would do this if you know that no matter what you do, the person who's going to be attacking you, or the people who are going to be attacking you, are so over your level and your tech that you stand almost no chance, right? So and your goal is to make it through the times when you're asleep without losing your troops. So what you would do is you would put on all of that gear, you would raise your wounded limit as high as you can, and you would do other things that we're going to talk about in a minute to protect those troops. So this is at night, I'm away, I have a family thing I'm doing this weekend, I can't log in, I'm not going to shield all weekend, I just want to do this without spending any money. I want to make sure that whenever I come back, my troops are going to be safe. So that's what we're going to talk about here. So we talked about medic tents in hospitals. We talked about research in the college. We talked about the beast skill over here. We talked about artifacts up here. We talked about your gear. What else can you do to protect your troops? All right, so number one here. You're going to want to go to Alliance, and you're going to go to Alliance Buildings, Alliance Hall, not the Alliance Castle. You want to go to the Alliance Fort. You're going to reinforce it. You're going to uncheck your beast, your totem, your titan. You're going to lower this down to 0%. Scroll to the bottom. All right, look for your big troops. So let's look at anything under 5. Let's see if I can get all of those. I'll probably get all of these pretty easily, right? So the goal here is to send my worst troops, all of them, as many of them as I can, so I can send up to 150K. So I can go up here. Look at this. All right, let's go here. Let's make sure I can send the rest of these guys. I got them. I can send about 10 more K. Those guys aren't going to help me. I'm going to send my angels. I don't want to lose any angels. All right, you guys get the picture. You want to send your worst troops to the fort. And why am I going to do this? I want to, and you can set up a march to do this. Probably pretty smart, so you can quickly just send your low level, your low tier troops over to the fort. And the reason I want to do this is I want to get as close as I can to that wounded capacity, right? So I have 179,000 now that are in my castle, and my capacity is 128. So I'm still 50 over. That's okay. So I just sent my worst troops away. And the reason I want to send my worst troops away and keep my best troops in under that hospital capacity is if anyone attacks me, I want to make sure I do a lot of damage to them. They're going to lose a lot more than I am. Even right now, if someone attacks me, I'm going to lose 50,000 are going to go towards the sanctuary. 20% of those, which is 10,000, would be completely lost. So the way this works is the excess troops that you have go to the sanctuary minus 20%. Okay, so 20% of 50,000 is 10,000. I would lose 10,000 40,000 would end up here in the sanctuary. I guarantee you, if anyone attacks me right now, they're going to lose a lot more than I am. Because on attack, remember, there's very little troops that actually go to the hospital. And we're going to talk about attack in another video, but just know that defense wins. In the end, defense always wins. Okay? So what else can I do? So I've sent troops to the fort. The Alliance fortress can never be attacked. No one can attack it. Those troops are absolutely safe. They're on vacation. They're chilling. They have no cause for concern. They're being well fed. They're taken care of. All is good and well with them. So the Alliance fort is your best option. The next best option are your friends. Well, really, it would be you, and you would shield, right? And you would shield for when you're going to be out, right? But let's say you don't want to spend any money, or you want to reduce that amount of spending on shielding because it can be a huge waste, right? So you already have a whole march that you can send over to the fortress that will be completely safe. The other thing that you can do, and that I've done in alliances a lot, is build a bubble rotation, a shield rotation with your trusted friends. Anyone in your alliance should be your trusted friend, but you know what I mean. You need to be confident that the people within this group that you're going to build this rotation with are going to stay shielded. Let's say Uncle Sam. He's an awesome guy. He is going to shield for today or tonight, and then tomorrow night I'm going to shield. That's what the rotation would be. Let's say Baguette is going to shield Monday night, Uncle Sam is going to shield Tuesday night, Eden Seco is going to shield Wednesday night, and Arctic Wolf is going to shield Thursday night, and I'm going to shield Friday night. And so that makes it so that none of us are spending too much. It's a whole lot better. The more people you have in the rotation, the better. But what I would do then is if it's Uncle Sam's night to shield, what I would do is I would do the same thing. I would uncheck. I would reduce that to 0. And now it was 50,000. I need to get rid of, I have 50,000 that I want to get under. So then I would just send this over and I would reinforce that excess. So fort first, friend second. So now, right now, the way I can check is I can go back here to the drill grounds. I can look at marching army and I see my idle army is 128,552. My wounded capacity is 128,640. So right now, if I get attacked, I will not lose troops. They will go to my hospital. I can spend a little bit of resources and I'm good to go. So let's say I don't have that rotation and I really don't know if people are going to be shielded. I'm super shy and I don't want to talk. So what else can I do? All right, so the other thing that you can do is you can shield. When you're out, shield. When you're away, shield. When you're inactive, you shield. So shielding costs money. So let's look here. So if I go to City Buff, and I go to Peace Shield, and let's say I'm going to shield for one day. There's other places you can get this shielding. Let me show you. So every day I go over to the merchant ship. I go through here, I sell resources here, and I buy stamina potions. The other thing you can get right here is the Peace Shield. So it's 900 a day is the normal price. You can get it for 720 on the actual merchant ship, and you can collect those up. You know, the beginning of the game when you really may not need this, and I'm going to tell you why you may not need it. But in the beginning of the game, especially, let's say everybody's not fighting, in the first couple weeks. If you're doing this every day, you can save a lot of money on your actual Peace Shields, your bubbles. So now I have 9 bubbles saved up. So I can go 9 days, as long as I remember that at 24 hours it's going to disappear. So I've got to come in, a few minutes before, half an hour before, and then I have to keep an alarm and all of that and keep up with it. It can be really dangerous. I've done it before when I'm running multiple accounts, and it becomes a nightmare, right? Because invariably you're going to forget. You're going to have events, you're going to have things happening in your life. It's going to make it hard to get back to that account, to remember at that moment to shield. It makes it difficult. So one way of ensuring that your troops can never be killed and you don't have to worry about any of the other stuff that we talked about is just use the peace shield. But it costs gems, and you want to save gems. You want to use gems for other things, not for that. So how do you get gems to actually take care of that? So one of the best ways, and the reason why I think this is one of the best ways, is it prevents you from spending all of your gems without thinking about the shielding. So using the Supreme card, it's 30 days. It's going to cost $19.99, or you can do the 90 days and save $5. It's going to give you 1,000 gems a day. Since your shield only costs 900 per day, you could spend $19.99 a month and stay shielded every day. Now you're going to have to still remember to come in and use this shield every day before your shield runs out. But if you're just building up and you just want to not worry about it, and you just want to kind of build on your own, set an alarm every day and set your shield a minute before it goes off or something like that to be more efficient, that would work. And that would be an easier way of getting your gems. You also have weekly gem packs and that sort of thing. And to me, it just makes sense to do the Supreme card because I'm going to use that for building up anyway. All right, so another excellent thing to remember on defense is to stay in your hive. So what is your hive? Go to the big map. Look here. Anything inside the orange lines is your hive, right? Technically. Where you want to be is where all of these green guys are. All of these icons. These green icons are so important. These green icons are your friends in your alliance. So you want to be as close as you can. Look, we have a hole right here. You want to be right there in the middle of all of them. And why do you want to be there? You want to be there so that whenever you get attacked, hopefully one of your friends who are online see your attack coming in and they reinforce. They sound the alarm for everybody to defend. Everybody races in. They reinforce you. When they reinforce you, whoever's attacking you is attacking them as well with those troops that they just sent over. Can't underemphasize the amount of teamwork and importance that a good defense set up by your alliance, like it is so important that your alliance is defending people who are getting attacked. So one of the things that we've done is we'll have people who are designated to watch the hive, right? Because you can be in the middle of things. You're just playing the game. You're all talking. You're fighting monsters. You're doing, you're rallying up for ruins. You're doing all the things that you can do within the game. So it's super easy to miss when someone's getting attacked because not everybody's just staring at the map or over here looking at alliance battles. Who's attacking? No. You need someone to actually watch that. Probably here would be the best in the alliance battles. You could also just kind of review the map. Hopefully you kind of know when an attack may be coming. Another thing that we've done, and the reason why defense early on isn't as important is usually you're not over your wounded capacity cap, right? And if you go here, this is a better place to go. If you go in here, no one has this yet. SOS. So SOS is a game changer. It's a realm changer. People get it at Lord level 35. Once they get it, every 24 hours, they will be able to have basically a free attack. So they can attack anyone on the map that's not shielded. They could kill all of their troops. It's one attack. When they have it activated, that one attack, all of the troops that would be killed on an attack become wounded and go to their hospital. Right, up to their hospital capacity, just like if they were on defense. And it really changes how the realm works, because usually people are afraid to attack in the beginning, because an attack you actually lose troops. And in another video, we're going to talk about how you can reduce the amount of troops that are lost, how you can ensure that you win. But right now, we're talking defense. So once you see, here you go to rankings and you go over to Lord level ranking. Once you see people nearing 35, so the higher you go in Lord level, the harder it is to jump up to the next level. But once you see people at 33, 34, within, around there, you need to really worry about, hey, pretty soon someone's going to start using their SOS, especially if they're in another alliance. The KBW here, Prophecy, Pure Chaos, they're kind of our competition. It's a friendly competition, but it's a competition anyway. I fully expect whenever they get their SOS that they'll be using it on us. They'll be using it on me, right? So what you can do, which is really good for an alliance, is you set up a group, and every time one of your rivals uses an SOS, you mark that time. If they're attacking you, right? Or if you see them attacking someone else, you mark that time in your game time, your UTC time, right here, 9:37 here for me in the morning, UTC. You mark that time in the group so that you know that potentially that you're free, for that person's not going to be able to use their SOS for the next 24 hours. But once that time comes up again, they'll be able to do another attack. Most people use their SOS around the same time if they're effective, right? It makes sense. Like if you attack at 9 a.m. one day and you're able to do a lot of damage, you're probably going to do it again around the same time, right? Once people start getting smart to that, then maybe you switch it up. But it's good to at least know when you could potentially be attacked, and that will help you build the focus of your alliance around when you need to be monitoring your alliance battles for incoming attacks. So the point here is, which, lots of talk, not a lot of points here. The point is stay close to your friends so that they can easily reinforce you. If you're on the other side of the map, how many people in your alliance are going to be able to speed over to reinforce you before that battle's over, before you've started to lose troops? Probably not a lot, right? If any. You had pretty good friends to use up all their speeds on you. You need to save your speeds for other things. So there's times, though, when your alliance isn't even going to reinforce. Again, if you have someone that's so far ahead of everyone in your alliance, like so far, that whenever they attack, you may kill 10 troops. They may kill 1 million, right? At that point, do you all reinforce? Or do you just have good behaviors? You reinforce the good behaviors across your alliance to prevent those real losses from happening, right? If someone wants to attack me right now, go for it. I don't care. I may lose some resources, but troop-wise, I'm not going to lose anything. Even if they lose 10 troops, I gain in the end. So let's talk about other things. So frenzy. So I just said reinforcements. So there's an event that comes, and it's called frenzy. So you have a frenzy and void, and they're very similar. but the way you defend is completely different. In Frenzy, no troops are really lost. It's a one-day event. It is a really good event. It replaces your kill event. So in the beginning of the game, you get the Strongest Lord event. So the first few times, there's no kill event. Eventually, you'll get a kill stage, right? And it is a big deal for your realm when that happens. It's a lot of fun, but at the same time, it can be pretty scary too. And it's going to help you eliminate the extreme number of farmers, of resource sellers that have probably built up on your realm. It's going to be a good time, if you do it right, for your alliance members to get resources so that they can build up. So with that being said, after a few stages of the kill event, you'll finally get to Frenzy. And in Frenzy, you're competing against another realm. And during that event, you can teleport over to the enemy realm, and you can attack those players, and they can do the same to you. And when they kill you, your troops, they don't really kill them. At the end of the event, you can get them back. So it's not a big deal. But when they kill your troops, like if they attack you and they kill your troops, they get points. Your realm could potentially lose the event because you left all of your troops in your castle. So you want to definitely do this. You want to send to your fort. In Frenzy, and only in Frenzy and Void, go ahead, send them to your Alliance fort, send them to your Alliance castle. They cannot attack during that event. I say that with one qualifier. If you are in a very toxic realm and you're at war and it's a dirty war, the other alliance could attack your alliance castle during the event. I believe it works that way. And you could lose troops there. But if you're not, no big deal. Send them over to the alliance castle. Send all of your troops out. If you're not going to be around, send them all out. During Frenzy, the enemies cannot steal your resources either. So the other realm cannot steal your resources. They cannot truly kill your troops. They can't even wound them once the event's over. Once the event's over, all the troops that were wounded just are back, magically back. So it's all good. So another thing, during the Frenzy event, your alliance members should not be reinforcing you, because the points that you get from attacking are so much greater than the points that you get from defending that it doesn't make sense. So if I attack someone and all of their friends reinforce, because I'm not truly losing any troops even on attack during Frenzy, I get more points from that attack. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm not even going to worry. I'm just going to attack during Frenzy. The opposite is during Void. During Void, you want to reinforce, you want to protect. You want to do all of the things that you would do during a kill event, because the points that you get on defense from killing enemy troops that are attacking you are equal to the points that you would get on attacking someone else. Okay, what about your resources? How do you protect your resources? Number one, stay close to your friends. So when people are taking resources, they're attacking you over and over and over and over and over again. If you're in your hive, within your group of friends, they can all reinforce you. So the likelihood that you're going to be attacked over and over and over and over again until all your resources are gone is really low. If you're in the middle of nowhere, though, all bets are off. You're done. You're done for. If you're not close to your group, if you're not close to your friends, they're not going to be able to reinforce you for all of these attacks. But if you're over here in the middle of all of this, you can bet that your friends are going to protect you and you're not going to lose all your resources. What if you're trying to protect your farm? So you have a farm alliance and it's not attached to your friends, your regular alliance, how do you protect it? One thing is, it's really, really important. Outside of when you're collecting from your farm, you want to keep your alliance closed. You don't want people to join it and then reinforce the farms that you're collecting. So what do I mean by closed? You go here, you go manage alliance settings, and you click this require approval to join, right? So no one's just joining it up real quick to defend your farm while you're attacking. But when you're not collecting from it and you want to make sure it's defended, you want to leave a couple open spots and you want to set the settings so that anyone can join it. And what happens there is, let's say someone comes over and they want to steal from your farms. What you can do, or someone in your alliance, is you can leave your main alliance and you can quickly join your farm alliance and you can reinforce the castles that are being attacked. You can do that and your friends can do that. You can work something out with your friends so that you protect their farms and they protect your farms. It's really, really important that everyone in your alliance knows whose farms are whose, and they know to protect them if they're being attacked by another alliance. So it's almost an art. I've seen people who are really, really good at getting in quickly to reinforce when it's being attacked by another alliance. Super important. Another thing you can do to protect those resources is, let's say your farm is in the middle of nowhere, it's relatively safe, but you could be attacked and you're trying to save up resources to get to the next level, and you have a ton of resources like I do right now, and you don't want to lose them, and you're afraid that when you're offline that your friends in the alliance aren't going to be on either to reinforce you. And you've been saving for a while, so you don't want to lose it. Okay, there's a couple things you can do. You have the ability to save a certain amount of resources, and it's here in the depot. So the higher level you have here, the more resources you can save. Honestly, it's not a whole lot, but it's something. It's a little bit. The next thing you can do is you're going to have to shield. I mean, that's a given, right? If you have a lot of resources like I do right now, and you're getting close to being able to actually go up to the next level, you can do an 8-hour shield while you're asleep. Then you come back and you collect or whatever. But you don't want to collect until there's two different ways to do it. One, you could collect every day knowing that you're going to shield, right? And so you're not worried about your farms getting hit because you're not going to lose the resources that are on your farms. They're all going to be on your main, and your main's going to be shielded. It's going to be protected. Or conversely, you could just collect when you could keep a shield on your main collector on your farm, and then just collect whenever you're ready to actually do your upgrade. So you could go over, collect the resources that you need, do your upgraded. Now you've spent your resources, so you're not as worried about losing your resources if someone attacks you. Because right now that would be the big thing that I could lose, right? Someone could port over here next to me, and they could just hit me again and again and again and again and potentially take all of my resources, right? That would be the biggest risk to me right now, would be losing resources, which honestly for me at the end of the day, although I am saving up for a big upgrade, at the end of the day, the resources are a lot easier to get over time than your troops. Troops are a lot more important. All right, so with that, what advice do you have? Use the comments. What tricks has your alliance used? What tricks have you used to save your resources and your troops? What other things can you recommend? I've seen some people do some really silly things, like they'll go in here and they'll reinforce the flags that are close to them, thinking that, they're protected. Nope, flags are not protected. Alliance Castle, not protected. Other buildings, not protected. They can be attacked. You need to be, the only building, again, is the Alliance Fort. This is where your troops should go. This building right here, Alliance Fort. You will see here lots of people on this. This is good. You want to see people saving their troops on the Alliance Fort. So again, if you have any tricks, if there's something that I missed here, let me know. If there's things that you do, things that your alliance does differently that maybe could help out people, speak up in the comments. And with that, take care.